Hey YouTube, welcome to the video. I wanted to talk today about this old snowmobile I've got sitting out here. I haven't touched it in, probably 2 years now. Um, this snowmobile, well, first off, as you can tell, it's very heavily modified. The seat is no longer the same seat. These snowshoes back here is for when I break down. Those are kind of homemade snowshoes, but they still work really well. They keep you floating up on top of the powder. The tunnel extension back here, this came off of I'm not sure what year it was, but it's a newer Polaris RMK 700 short track. They call it a short track, but it was a lot longer track than what I had. And that's where I got this track too. You can see this track, the paddles on it they're 1 3/4 inch paddles. And that's the tallest paddle I can put on this snowmobile without some modifications. The tunnel just, it doesn't allow it. So the track and the tunnel extension came off of a newer model. The seat I built myself, and the engine underneath. Oh wait, we're not done talking about the other stuff yet. The skis are off of a Arctic Cat T660 4-stroke trail sled, but they're a lot lighter than the heavy metal frame skis that were on there. What else am I talking? Oh yeah, under the hood. Let's get under the hood and let's talk about that. Open her up here. So the biggest modification that this thing's had done to it is in the engine itself. Several years ago, I'm thinking maybe 5 or 6 years, no, maybe 7. Let's see. No, it was longer than that, because I was still in high school at the time. So I mean, we're talking like 11 or 12 years ago. Me and my dad, we tore this engine down and rebuilt it. And when we rebuilt it, so the factory pistons have one piston ring. Of course, it's a 2-stroke engine, but the original pistons had just one piston ring, and the new ones that we got had 2 piston rings, so they sealed a lot better. So we actually got better compression out of it that way. It ran really, really good. But then, let's see, I want to say 5 years ago. Yeah, I think it was 5 years ago. I tore it down again, but just the top end. I pulled the heads off, and I milled the heads down, and I took a lot of material off of the heads, probably close to 1/8 of an inch. So that also made a huge difference. But I really don't feel like I got the most out of my engine. Like, I feel like I could have got a little more out of it. My clutching was wrong, so it kind of bogged down a little bit. If I had redone the clutching, I might have had better luck with it. But 2 years ago, I was out for a ride and started getting back on the trail, started heading back towards the pickup, and I heard a funny noise, and all of a sudden it was running really, really bad, really crappy. Running on 1 cylinder. It's a 2-cylinder engine. You can see it's got the 2 spark plugs there, but it was just running really, really crappy, and I barely made it back to the parking lot where my truck and trailer were. Pulled up right behind the trailer, and it died right there. I had to drag it the rest of the way up onto the trailer. So this sled has sat here ever since then. I haven't touched it. So I've got hornet's nest over here. The bugs have been getting to this thing. It's time to either do something with it or just get rid of it. So I'm going to kind of tear into it a little bit today. I'm going to show you what I've got going on. When I got it home that day, I pulled the spark plugs out, and I looked at the spark. I think it was the one on this side, farther away from the fan. So here's the fan that cools the engine. It's fan cooled, and the fan blows air up and through across the top of the engine, gets it all cooled down that way. So of course this cylinder is always the hotter one because it's farther away from the fan. This one stays cooler. But this one, I pulled that spark plug out, and the little electrode on top of the spark plug, there's you got the body of your spark plug, and there's an electrode goes over the top, and that electrode had been smashed all the way down, and it couldn't make spark anymore because it's just making solid contact, so it wasn't sparking at all. That's why that cylinder was dead. So I'm going to tear into this thing. I really have no idea what kind of major engine damage we have. I'm wondering if maybe I can just get away with buying some new cylinder heads to replace the ones that I milled down so far. I think I probably went too far on that. Probably shouldn't have milled those down that like that. I think it was just way too much. Way too much compression, and then trying to build more power, but then my clutching wasn't right, and so it was bogging down, getting way too hot because the trail heading back to the truck was really rough, so I was going slow. And I mean, everything was against me that day. It was a really warm day. It was probably, let's see, I don't even remember. I remember it was super warm. It was probably 30 degrees out, which for snowmobiling, that is hot. That's a hot day. So I'm going to look into this thing, kind of tear it down a little bit, and maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe we can just get some cylinder heads, get this thing back together. Maybe I can ride this winter, because winter's coming. This is November now, so winter's coming, and I would love to have a snowmobile to ride. Okay, we're back, and I've got my spark plugs pulled out. So now what we do is I take my special tool here, special fancy high dollar. I mean, this is quality equipment. You can tell, Craftsman brand. I mean, nothing but the best here, right? And so we take our screwdriver, we're gonna stick it down in the hole where the spark plug goes, and it's coming up. You see the spark plug start to poke out, and right there I'm actually going back down with the piston now. So if I take my screwdriver and shove it down on that piston, push down, I don't feel any play. You see the clutch turn there as I push down, it turns around. I don't feel any play in the bearings. I think I might actually be okay. And of course we go check the other side here, and it should be, now that I push the other piston down, that piston should be up right now. So if okay, up a little bit, came out. So I bring that down some, and then I take my screwdriver, push down on the piston. There's no play there either. I think I might actually be okay. I think what I did when I was milling those heads down, I think what I did is I just took too much material out, and so then the spark plug and the piston were too close to each other. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do to fix that problem. It's kind of an old school solution, but I took the spark plugs out. Of course I got new spark plugs. When this happened, I grabbed some new spark plugs, stuck them in there to see if it would fire up, and I think I actually had it flooded at the time. It didn't start. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my spark plugs, and I don't know how well you can see that. There's 2 gaskets on there right now. I took a gasket, or seal, the little ring right here. You can see there's 2 rings. There's the one right there, and then the older one, the rusty one on top of that. So what this is going to do is it's going to space that spark plug back out of that hole a little bit, where it's got 2, I'm just going to call them gaskets. I don't know, crush sleeve, whatever. It's a little ring that goes on the gasket, or on the spark plug, and it crushes and forms a seal when you thread it into the cylinder. But what I do is I took 2, put them on there, and it's going to take that spark plug, it's going to space it up out of the hole just a little bit, so that the piston and the cylinder, man, I can't talk today. So the piston and the spark plug don't come into such close contact anymore. So it's going to take that spark plug, it's going to pull it up out of the hole, just that much, just a little bit, you know. So we'll still have spark, we'll still have clearance, and we can still have our high compression. So I think I might have lucked out on this one. I might be okay. I don't have any gas in this thing, and honestly, I don't even know why this thing's been sitting here for 2 years. This is ridiculous. I should have been riding last year, but I didn't go riding at all, because in my head I was thinking, well, my snowmobile's broke down. I can't ride. Psh, you kidding me? So, but anyway, we're going to try that. So I'll get some gas. Probably not tonight, but because it's getting a little bit late tonight. But I'm going to get some gas, and we'll see if we can get this thing fired up. If it fires up, great. That'd be awesome. I think I might have to get some oil too. I don't know. The bottle looks like I might be down like here-ish, I think. Or maybe not. Maybe up here? I don't know. I don't know how much oil I have. I can't. Cap's on too tight. I can't get it off. I'll have to get some pliers on that. Pull that off there. I don't know why that cap gets so tight. It's crazy. But anyway, that's my plan for now. We're going to get some gas, probably get some oil, and then, oh man, clean that air filter out too. That's terrible. That's awful. Anyway, if we can get it to start, awesome. I've got a sled to ride this year. If not, I don't know. This old sled might be headed for the scrap heap. I hope not. I love this sled. I've put so much work into this thing over the years. I mean, it's crazy how much I've done to this poor sled. So, anyways, we'll catch back with you maybe tomorrow. Let's see what we got going on tomorrow. So, until then, talk to you later. Okay, it is 2 days later. Sorry for the delay. Although by the time you watch this video, it doesn't even feel like there's any time that passed by, so it doesn't matter. I ended up doing quite a bit more work on the snowmobile here. I had to pull that fuel tank off of it. There was some really old gas and also a little bit of water in there too, so I had to pull that gas tank off and dump it out, drain it out into a bucket. So, and then I put some fresh gas into it, and then I went to try and start it, and my starter was not engaging. I've got a, what do they call it, recoil starter. You know, you pull the cord, the starter's down in there. There's the cord runs up, and there's the handle. You grab the handle, you pull it, and it starts it. But my starter was not engaging, so I was kind of fighting that a little bit. So, but it runs now. I've got great news. She's alive. I actually got her going, and took a little bit of ether to get it started. But once it started, it ran great, no problems. So I'm going to fire it up for you now, just so you can see it. Oh, of course, it dies. So it is running. It's not running great, but that might be due to the fact it's been sitting for like 2 years, doing absolutely nothing. But it does run. It starts, and I think I might be able to just, once we have some snow, I can probably get it running around. And I actually did make a lap around the yard with it, but I think once we get some snow, I can take it out, run it, like give it a real run, and it might clear up some of the issues that we're having. It's mostly at idle. At idle, it doesn't wanna. But you kind of feather the throttle a little bit, get it up off of idle, and it runs great. So, matter of fact, I was following my tracks here. I don't even know how well you can see the tracks in the dirt on the camera here, but I was following the tracks, and I got to a point back here. Let's see if I can show you. Maybe, I guess you can see the tracks decent on camera. Anyway, I was back over here. And there's a spot right back here. I kind of punched it, and skis left the ground. Like you can see, actually there's where the track crosses over. You can see where the skis came back down to earth. Like right there, right about, see there's my foot right there. So right, that one and that one. And you can probably see that a whole lot better than what I'm giving you credit for, but skis left the ground, so I mean it's running good. It's running really good, and I kind of want to start it up again because honestly, I love hearing that sound right now, and I am so excited that I'm going to be able to go riding this year. And hopefully, with my little trick with the spark plugs, hopefully I won't have this problem again. And I think I need to be a little bit more conscious about what the snowmobile is doing as I'm riding. If it's getting too hot, if it's starting to have problems, I just need to pay closer attention to the sled and I might be able to take care of a lot of those problems. I really hope so.